This learning object is a production of Abu Dhabi Men's College, Center of Excellence for ICT and Learning Technology.
Good morning. His Excellency is doing us the honor of joining our forum this morning to talk further about the impact of funding for higher education. And I was conscious when I was listening to you, Your Excellency, that this recession is a bit like a toothache. It's something that you can't think of anything else while you're suffering from it, but somehow you still have families and jobs, and the toothache will go eventually, and the question is how we're going to survive that toothache. I don't know the answers to that, but I do know some people who perhaps do. So may I call to join us on the stage Dr. Abdul Kalam, the former President of India. Lone Jibker, who's former Minister of the Environment in Denmark. Margaret Spellings, former U.S. Secretary for Education. Dr. Jack Meyer, Convexity Capital Management and former CEO of Harvard Management Company. Dr. Michael Adams of Fairleigh Dickinson University and President-elect of the International Association of University Presidents, USA. Cecilia Maria Velez White, the Minister of Education of Colombia. And Dr. Lou Anna Simon, President of Michigan State University. Thank you all very much. It's a great honor to be here. Perhaps we could begin by taking up some of the themes that His Excellency raised this morning and also yesterday, and particularly talking from your own perspectives about how higher education has been affected and how you fear it may be affected as a result of this downturn. Dr. Simon, perhaps we could begin with you.
Thank you very much. It's a pleasure to be here. From a state in the United States that's been the hardest hit by the economic downturn, one can look at this and say that our dollars per student have declined, but at the same time our responsibility to the society has increased. And so part of our role is to have a bold vision and to implement that vision in a very cost-effective way so that we keep the long-term stewardship of our institution, our responsibility to society in mind. And so that requires bold vision and tough management.
Senora Velez White.
Well, for us in Colombia, we have not yet been affected at the budget, but we are going to be affected. Not really that we are going to diminish the amount of money, but we are not going to have much more money. As a counter-cyclical measure, now we have more money for technological training, facing the increasing of the unemployment rate, but we don't know, as I told yesterday, if the crisis is going to endure a lot of time. We are going to have problems to increase the budget.
Dr. Adams.
I'm the head of an institution, private not-for-profit, located in New Jersey. We are in the epicenter of the economic and financial chaos in the United States. We are beginning to feel it, particularly a centering of students staying home. So our applications are actually up. I have tried to frame this for my colleagues and for my institution that this is a window of a 2-year major challenge. We have great confidence that times are going to change and change rather rapidly because of the resolve and some actions that are being taken. I try to keep in mind that forefront of what we're about. I love H.G. Wells' quote, who said, the history of humanity is increasingly a race between education and catastrophe. We are the solution. And in the midst of challenges, we have to maintain that resolve.
I always love that old American bumper sticker. If you think education is expensive, try
And like they say, what doesn't kill you makes you stronger. One of the things that clearly there are deleterious impacts to the reduction of resources, but I do think there are some real silver linings here, and it is causing American higher education to really look carefully at what we do and what we shouldn't do or don't do, and to really take a more thoughtful evaluation of how we meet the needs of our society in a time of crisis when, as my colleague said, we need to be much more responsive. Students are staying closer to home, seeking cheaper alternatives, using technology, finding ways to work and pursue their studies. And that is causing some rethinking in American higher education, and in many ways, rightfully so.
Dr. Kalam, may I answer?
Well, just before starting, I consulted 3 of my great, what I can say, educationists. Their feeling about the type of impact, the economical impact on the education. One person is a well-known educationist, that is Professor Yashpal. He told me that the problem in India is not going to be the money. And since we are planning to start a number of institutions, higher engineering, higher technology, higher medical institutions, going to be the type of teachers, trying to see how we can evolve and get the teacher. Here only we can, international cooperation come in a big way. And similarly, when I discussed with one of the largest university in India, the Delhi University, Professor Deepak Bengal, he believes that money is not a problem for his university. His university problem is how fast he can equip the laboratories and the teachers. So teachers, the right type of teachers, at the time of economic crisis, for all any, we should see how we can work together. The best teachers all should be through e-learning we can do, or exchange of teachers. This is one of the things can happen.
Ms. Jibkar, I know that talking to those involved in universities in Western Europe, people say that is exactly one of the problems there too, because people are demoralized, they fear cutbacks, they're not quite sure where the axe is going to fall, and that in itself is demoralizing for the faculty.
Yeah, but I mean, you have a lot of university which is government financed in Europe, and especially in Denmark, everything is government financed. And that also means that the connection in relation to the crisis is something else than direct. It's indirect because if you have a high unemployment, you get lesser taxes in, and then you get lesser possibilities for the financing of the university. So I think it goes from Denmark especially, but it goes from most of Europe. So it's an indirect type of things, and I think we have to realize we don't know the end of the crisis, which also means that we have to breathe and see how it's going. But I would say that the most important things which we are talking about about the crisis in Europe is the unemployment rate, because of the influence on the general living system. And there we have more or less acted at the Danish model of flexicurity. That means that when you are unemployed, you get a certain rate of benefits. And you can use this in 2 ways, by doing nothing, or you could say, okay, why not train the people in the meantime? So that's what we are looking at. That is saying, okay, we have an unemployment rate. Of course, we try to make a flexicurity also here, so you are maybe unemployed a week or 2 weeks, and then take another one in, and then you go back. But the key thing is that you can use the time for education, which means also that if you can supplement more basic education, gives more room from the higher education.